What's going on, everybody? I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday afternoon / early evening so far. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about Nicolas Claxton again. I mean, I can't praise Nicolas Claxton any more than the job he has been doing this year for the Brooklyn Nets. He's been doing an excellent job for the Nets defensively, and now especially, he's doing it even on the offensive side of the court, with especially his shooting percentage and the fact that he's evolving more into an all-around good shooter for the Brooklyn Nets during this breakout season for the young forward. Claxton this year is actually shooting an excellent percentage overall from the field. I mean, it's even actually it's kind of scary to say how good Claxton has been. He's shooting 71% from the court this year. 71%. It's not just, you might say it's all putbacks. You might say it's all dunk. You might say it's all alley-oops. Absolutely not. What Claxton is doing now is he's not only being able to be around the basket, he's developing an offensive game, an individual shot near the basket, putting up some of these baby hooks, putting up some mid-range shots, putting up some shots off the backboard. He's evolving his offensive game in the middle as we look in our eyes. We already know how good Claxton is in this year in the NBA. He's averaging about 3 blocks per season this year, and he's averaging about 9 rebounds this season, along with about 12, 13 points per season. But there's a reason why Claxton is shooting so well near the basket, and it's not, like I mentioned, just put-back shots and not just alley-oops or anything like that. Claxton is becoming a good offensive player, slowly but surely. He's still developing his offensive game, albeit he's only 23 years old. But this guy is slowly developing the rest of his offensive game near the basket, backing down his opponents, developing a baby hook, a mid-range shot, putting up these short-range shots, not trying to get too much out of his comfort zone. Where he's pretty much a guy that's going to be trying to, and he's a very athletic player. I've seen multiple times where Claxton has had the basketball in his hands and he's dribbled up and down the basketball court and he's been able to take it down the court and put up some amazing plays on his own for a 6'11" player. He's incredibly athletic for his size, and Claxton is only getting better as he's going to get older. And right now, the deal that Claxton signed in the offseason is looking like an absolute damn bargain for how well he's played for the Brooklyn Nets this year. You could argue he's up there right now as one of the defensive players of the year for not only the Brooklyn Nets, but in the NBA this year. And now he's even starting to develop the rest of his offensive game for this Brooklyn Nets team during this season. He has been fantastic for the Nets. There's really nothing more you could say about the play of Nicolas Claxton. I can't praise this dude anymore for how well he's played and consistently over the season. He's missed a couple of games here or there. Some days where he's had maintenance days where he sat out because Jacques Vaughn wanted to sit him for a little bit. But when he's been on the court for the most part, he has been a difference maker. And he's been a difference maker in terms of scoring, in terms of rebounding, in terms of defending. And like I mentioned, he is not a guy that just does dunks, alley-oops, and simple little putback shots and layups. He's even evolving his game offensively around the basket. And that's what you need from a young big man in this NBA. That's what's making me even more excited for what Claxton's ceiling can really be going forward into the rest of this NBA season. I mean, it even says it right here in a post in the NewYorkPost from Brian Lewis. The improved offensive shooting stroke of Nicolas Claxton. Even when he struggles a little bit, which is not very often. Claxton is most of the part, has had very good offensive nights for the good part. And obviously, yes, he struggled from the free throw line. Claxton is not a good free throw shooter, as we know. He's only shooting 52% this year, which is actually slightly a downgrade, but not too bad from what it's been previously. Jacques Vaughn said in a presser a couple of days ago, yeah, and those 4 looked really good. He said really good. So first of all, he commented on that from being step up and making free throws, and then he continued to grow for us. Claxton is a career 53% shooter from the free throw line and ended January making just 47%. But since February, he's upped his free throw percentage, which is another improvement. He's upped his free throw percentage to 66%, which is a very big improvement. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow Claxton to remain on the court even more. But like I mentioned, this guy is not just becoming a dunker or just a guy that's going to back you down near the basket. He's becoming an overall threat on the offensive side of the court in some ways. I love seeing that from Claxton. His offensive game is evolving for the Brooklyn Nets as we continue to go forward. And that's what you need from a young emerging player on this basketball team. Is somebody like Claxton to keep getting better and better and better and better as he goes forward. And he's going to keep getting better as he ages a little bit more and he gets closer to his prime. He has a baseline jumper now that he's been hitting a little bit more consistent as of late. From around 12 to 13 feet near the basket. He's evolving that part of his game. Like I mentioned, I talked about the athleticism, being able to drive to the basket. He's also evolving a post-up game a little bit. Spin moves. A little bit of a baby hook. And if Nicolas Claxton could keep evolving as an offensive player going into this NBA season, it's going to make him even more deadly. An offensive player for this Brooklyn Nets team as we wind down the rest of this NBA season going into the playoffs. So while everybody is praising Nicolas Claxton, and rightfully so, for the amazing job that he's doing defensively on the court, with the fact he's averaging 3 blocks and 9 rebounds per game, he is also averaging close to 13 points per game, and he's even evolving his offensive game where he's not just known as a putback and a dunker and an alley-oop guy. He's even developing a mid-range game for the Brooklyn Nets offensively, and that has a lot to do also with the offensive prowess that Mikal Bridges, that Cam Johnson, and that Spencer Dinwiddie have providing this basketball team since they've come in. Those are some of the other things that have also helped out this team going forward. And I'm really excited to see the evolution of Nicolas Claxton and his offensive game for the rest of this season and going into next season. That's what I would love to see. That's what I'd love to hear. And that's what I'm going to be most encouraged about the most, is seeing the evolution of Nicolas Claxton going into the rest of this NBA season. But you guys let me know in the comment section. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Give a sub to NYGJeffyT85 for more news updates and chatter surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. Turn on that bell for notifications of the next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the Brooklyn Nets. And you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about young center Nicolas Claxton's offensive game starting to emerge and expand from what it was earlier on in the season and even before the season to what it is now. And if you think his evolution on his offensive game can even get better heading to the latter part, the end of this season, going into the playoffs and forward for the Brooklyn Nets. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take it easy and let's go Brooklyn Nets. Of course, it's a Nets world and we all just living in it.